אשרינו, אשרינו, מה טוב חוקנו, אשרינו, אשרינו, מה טוב חוקנו.
אשרינו, 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 מה טוב חוקנו, אשרינו, אשרינו, מה טוב חוקנו.
הומנויים, הומנויים, גוירולנו, הומנויים, נויים, גוירולנו.
הומנויים, הומנויים, גוירולנו, הומנויים, נויים, גוירולנו.
הומה יופו, 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 ירושלנו, הומה יופו, יופו, ירושלנו. הומנויים, הומנויים, גוירולנו, הומנויים, נויים, גוירולנו.
הומנויים, הומנויים, גוירולנו, הומה יופו, יופו, ירושלנו.
Yerushalayno, oh my yofo, yofo Yerushalayno, oh my yofo, yofo, yofo Yerushalayno, oh my yofo, yofo Yerushalayno.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so happy that you're here to join us on this special presentation by the Jewish Community Center here in the South Bay in Manhattan Beach, California. 70 years ago, out of the ashes of one of the greatest catastrophes ever to hit humanity, known as the Holocaust, a man known as simply as the Rebbe ascended onto the stage of Jewish leadership. In the decades follows, the Rebbe revolutionized our people and inspired millions the world over. His teachings, his inspiration continues to affect and transform the lives of humanity across the globe. Today, on the third day of the month of Tammuz on the Jewish calendar, the 26th anniversary of the Rebbe leaving this physical earth, today we will focus on the Rebbe's teachings and how he impacted our lives. In the following presentation, we will highlight one unique aspect of the Rebbe that, please God, will inspire each one of us to move forward in our divine journey on this earth. On behalf of the Jewish Community Center, welcome to Unlocking Potential. Over the next 45 minutes, you will have a front row seat how the Rebbe unlocked potential of hope within the chaos and confusion. How during some of the most darkest times in the world, and also some of the most challenging moments by humanity and also by individual, the Rebbe found the spark of light and diamonds, how he found this aspect to transform from darkness into light and brought out the greatest potential by humanity. We hope that this evening will bring you much strength and your ability to be inspired, to light your fire, to be a lamplighter, to bring light, hope, calmness, and joy to this world. I look forward to hearing your response following this presentation. Sit back and enjoy.
Nach Fayidne sich jedu auf dem Wort von dem Baal Shem Tov. Kisiya Atem Eretz Chefetz, jeder Ried befragt, wird geglichen zu Eretz Chefetz zu Ort.
So I bought a Greyhound bus ticket for $100 and I went off to look for America. I went around the States meeting many, many rabbis of all kinds. And eventually I got to see the Rebbe in a meeting that changed my life. I asked the Rebbe my questions, the questions of a young sophomore student. He got through them quite rapidly, and that was the extraordinary moment when he suddenly did a role reversal. My questions ended, and his questions began. How many Jewish students were there at Cambridge? How many came along to the Jewish Society? We estimated in those days that we were losing 90% of our Jewish students who were just drifting away. And the Rebbe started saying, and what are you doing about it? And I really didn't expect this because I never saw myself as a leader or somebody involved in as it were, reaching out. And I suddenly realized the Rebbe was challenging me to go and lead.
Sie wird angerufen Eretz Chefetz, der Fall was inne wenig Kriegen, a wohn im Tevis und Margolies. Sie liegt ab Mayim Chayim. Sie liegen kamo Eitzes, was seine Gonus bemavi ho Adomo.
The Rebbe taught me something very important, that the most transformative moments in your life happen when somebody else believes in you more than you believe in yourself.
Der Unterschied in uns, sie da bei ihnen, was gefühlen sich Korriv. Zu dem Eberflag, bemehle darf noch ein bisschen agrobter. Gefindt mir gleich dem Even Tevo, gefindt gleich dem Mayim Chayim. Sie da a Sehne, was mir darf groben tiefer und noch tiefer, kdei arobzunehmen mit alle Unionen, Hamalimim und Mastirim.
I was at Torres Chaim, which was on Belmont Avenue in Brooklyn. Shortly before my 10th birthday, my mother and my baby sister and myself went to see the Rebbe. We went to 770, and my mother started to talk to the Rebbe. My son, Shalom, he's been thrown out of the yeshivas, and the rabbi says this, and he's not listening, and the rabbis are complaining he doesn't like the school, he doesn't like the homework, he doesn't like the program, he likes eating stuff in class, and then my mother's crying and crying because she was searching for answers. The Rebbe turns to me, and he smiles, and he goes, "Come here." So I started the conversation. Because I was ready. I said to the Rebbe, "You're the Rebbe?" So the Rebbe looks at me with a big smile. He says to me 3 questions. The first question was, "Are you a good boy?" I said, "No," with conviction. I was ready. I was used to the scene. So then he says, "You like school?" I said, "No." Then he says to me, "Do you listen to your mother?" I said, "No." So with a big smile, he turns to my mother and he goes, Emes, it's good.
Hat aufgegraben die Mayim Chayim, was sie behalten bei jeder Rieden, a viele bei dem Mieden, was ruft sich an der Weiler. Beshem Acher ist a sichere Sache, a sichert von Eretz Chefetz, a sichere Sache, a verbunden mit Mekel Mayim Chayim, a Bayelikim Chayim.
Emes, it's good. And that was, wow. I jumped right back into the whole scene.
Man darf sich mehr nicht haben Geduld und nicht jallen in Kirche wie Gier. Auf der groben Sache und aufgraben dem Bejehr, bis wann es zu tun im Stürmen, dem Mayim Chaim Shebetecha, aber das ist gewähnt der Weder von den Baal HaYilul.
My father was an Orthodox rabbi. He was a Musmach from Slobodka. And unfortunately, he died when I was 7. My mom, as a single parent, I guess was looking for some sort of help and reassurance. He was very Makarev. I'd walk with my mom sometimes on Eastern Parkway, and if the Rebbe happened to be walking, he would just kind of like touch his hat as if to acknowledge that she was there. And that meant so much. Then when I was in college, my mom had wanted me to come with her, so I'd have the experience. He asked questions about what I was doing at college. I was involved in the Jewish Culture Foundation because NYU was a big university, and I wanted to maintain whatever was important Jewishly. A short time after the meeting, I do remember the excitement of getting this letter at NYU. Blessings and greetings. The life's purpose of every Jew has been clearly defined as far back as the revelation at Mount Sinai. We were then ordained as a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Every one of us, man or woman, must fulfill priestly functions to bring God to the people and to elevate the people to be nearer to God. Our father Abraham has taught us what one individual can achieve. For one was Abraham, yet he inherited all the earth. Our age, which some people prefer to call the atomic age, has further demonstrated that in the minutest quantity of matter, tremendous stores of energy may be found. All that is necessary is to discover them and then harness these stores of energy to constructive purposes. I feel sure that the thoughts expressed in the above lines will find their proper response in your heart and in the hearts of your colleagues and friends. Cordially, Menachem Schneerson. I shared it with the director and the other officers, and we really succeeded in having a lot of Yiddishkeit there.
When I moved to New York and got married, I started a beginner's minyan at our shul here in Manhattan. It was basically an introductory service for Jewish adults that may or may not have had the benefit of a Jewish education. We launched it on Rosh Hashanah because we thought that was an auspicious time to try and attract people and so forth. And I was leading it with not a great deal of preparation, but nevertheless I did my best to lead it. And it turned out to have been a success. I remember, as I always did every year, going to visit the Rebbe for Lekach between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And always long lines. Lekach time was no exception, and you could see people coming to him and expressing their own needs and their own worries and requests for advice, requests for blessings and so forth. Everybody asking and asking and asking the Rebbe for things. I thought to myself, this year I'm going to be different. I'm going to give the Rebbe some nachas. I'm going to give him some good news and make him happy and proud and smile and especially make him proud of me.
I'd like to let the Rebbe know, I hope he has some nachas from the following. This Rosh Hashanah in our shul, I started a minyan for beginners who don't know anything. We had 200 people. 200. Rosh Hashanah, and Yetz Hashem for Yom Kippur we'll have also. And the Shabbos, we started the first regular Shabbos, we had about 50 people.
Last Shabbos.
People without any background to start learning a little bit about Yiddishkeit. And I'd like the Rebbe's bracha that we should continue.
And I expected a big yasher koach from the Rebbe. I expected the Rebbe to give me a high five and to congratulate me and so forth. When I said the words, Jews without any Jewish background, the Rebbe's smile disappeared. And he looked at me with his piercing blue eyes, and I knew that I had said something very, very wrong. And I didn't know what.
He'll explain to all these people they have a real background of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yankee. And so the Rivke Rachel the Leah. That's for you, and that's for the people who have no background.
The Rebbe was saying, this is royalty you're talking about. These aren't Jews without any background. This is royalty. And that was the Rebbe. For every Jew, for the Rebbe was royalty.
You know, we were Pashto mention, but everybody counted, and that's the important thing.
He said I was emes. At that point, it pulled me right back into Yiddishkeit.
Last night at London, Jonathan Sacks became the new chief rabbi, a figurehead for the whole of Anglo Jewry, and one of the most influential rabbis in the world.
That's what the Rebbe did. You saw your reflection in his eyes, and you were suddenly much bigger than you thought you were.
The Rebbe always saw the extraordinary potential in everyone. Even for those that others saw as handicapped or disabled, the Rebbe saw them unique and special, reframing the conversation by disapproving the very label of disabled. In 1976, Israel's Paralympic delegation comprised of wounded IDF soldiers. They paid a historic visit to the Rebbe. The Rebbe addressed these wounded heroes and years ahead of his time suggested the common term disabled be changed to reflect the special and exceptional potential these heroes possessed.
במלחמת ההתשה נפצעתי, והשיקום הממשי שלנו היה דרך הספורט. השתתפנו כשחקני כדורעף בנבחרת הנכים של ארגון נכי צה"ל. ב-1976 התקיימה האולימפיאדה בטורונטו בקנדה, והייתי מהמייסדים והמובילים של הארגון הזה לשיקום נכי המלחמה.
Of all the sports represented at the Olympiad, basketball is the best attended, drawing standing room only crowds for every game, especially those between the two giants of the sport, the US and Israel.
וחשבתי שלא יכול להיות דבר יותר מובן מאליו מאשר לטוס לניו יורק ולבקר את הרבי. והתקשרתי למזכירו של הרבי ומיד התקבלתי בתשובה חיובית בחמימות וקבענו את המועד.
אני שגדלתי בקיבוץ חילוני, במסגרת חילונית, שכל הקשר שלי לדת היה רחוק מזרח ממערב, שיוסי לוקר אמר שצריכים להיפגש עם הרבי מלובביץ', אמרתי בסדר, אוקיי, ניפגש איתו, זה לא... שמעתי עליו, וכבר כשהתקרבנו, כשירדנו מהאוטובוס, חשנו בעמולה, בהתרגשות הגדולה מסביב. הגענו לאולם גדול, בית הכנסת הגדול, ומסביב היו אלפי בני ישיבה חרדים בהתרגשות גדולה.
מוכרח לומר, אני אישית בהתרגשות רבה. וזו הייתה איזו רוח מיוחדת, רוח של קדושה. ויצא הרבי ועלה לבמה ודיבר אלינו.
אני אדם בעבור אשכנזית, שהורגלתי בתקוותי שכולם יבינו את זה.
היה איתנו מתורגמן שעמד לתרגם מיידיש, ולהפתעתנו הרבי דיבר איתנו בעברית, מה שנקרא עברית של ביאליק, במילאל. וראית שעומד מולך איש מאוד מיוחד, מאוד אחר, והמסר שלו היה, אתם חזקים, אתם גיבורים, אתם לא נכים.
אין די כי נכה מהשם שנסים למישהו שהוא נכה, שזהו מראה על משהו נחיסוס וירידו, כי אם אדרבה צורך להדגיש בזה שהוא משהו מיוחד ומצוין על ידי ברי האדם שנוסן לכיחס מיוחדים יסרים על מה שישנו לאדם מן השורה, ולכן דווקא ביכולתי להסגבר על קושיים ומניעס שאין ביכולת להסגבר עליהם לאדם מן השורה. ולכן הייתי מציע שישנו השם ויקורו מצוינים בישראל.
ישבנו קסומים שמה, האזנו לדרשה שלו, ואני כאדם שעסקתי כל חיי בתחום הזה, אני יכול לומר שדברי הרבי היו נר לרגליי, ומצאתי אנשים שנפגעו בצורה הכי קשה, עיוורים ומשותקים וכן הלאה, ובמעט שנשאר להם, הם הגיעו להישגים הכי גדולים שאדם יכול לתאר לעצמו, שזה דבר שאדם שלא מכיר את התחום הזה וכן הלאה, לא יכול להאמין. וזה הרבי תפס מיד כשהוא ראה אותנו וכשהוא קיבל אותנו.
ובעזרת ההתייחסות של הרבי שקרא לנו מצויני צה"ל, בעקבות זה, עם השנים אני הייתי שותף להקמה של ארגון שנקרא אתגרים. ארגון שמנסה באמצעות ספורט אתגרי, לקחת ילדים עיוורים וקטועים ומשותקים ופגועי נפש מנטלית. היום אני מביא אותם למאות, לאלפי, אפילו לעשרות אלפי החולים שלי, ובצורה זו אני מצליח לרפא אותם.
בברכו בתדו רבה על הכובד הגודל שנזכבדתי על ידי הביקור שלכם, והיא רוצן שרבי פעמים תצליחו להוביל שמחו ואב ויהדות בכל מקום שתבקרו, הם בחוץ לארץ ולאחרי זה גם כן בארץ הקודש.
וכשהוא סיים את הדרשה, הרבי ירד אלינו. דבר שאמרו לי שזה דבר שהוא לא מקובל. הוא ירד אלינו, לחץ את ידי כולם, ידי כל המשלחת, הוא לחץ את ידי. זה היה מין חיזיון שקשה לתאר אותו. חשנו שהאיש באמת אוהב אותנו. אוהב את הנתן ומעריך את הנכים שתרמו מגופם לשלמותה של מדינת ישראל.
Even for those whose potential had been hidden and locked away due to pain and suffering they had endured, people who were afraid to even try, the Rebbe gently encouraged them to unlock their potential as well. Perhaps the most recognized symbol of the great atrocity of the 20th century, the Holocaust, was Nobel Prize winner and writer Elie Wiesel. Elie Wiesel writes in his memoirs how once during a meeting with the Rebbe, when they were in the middle of a deep theological discussion, the Rebbe changed the topic and asked him why he had never gotten married and built a family. The Rebbe gently encouraged Elie Wiesel to marry and build a family, unlocking his potential despite the great pain and suffering he had endured. Take a look.
I had a friend called Gershon Jacobson, He was working for a Yiddish paper, I think for the Morgenjournal. I was working for the Forwards. And we would meet at meetings, press conferences and so forth. And I liked him. And he said to me, you must come to Fabringen. That's all Fabringen. And I came. And I saw the Rebbe really. I saw the Rebbe at work, and that was enough. I saw him. And I realized that all the tsar in the world, all the pain in the world, all the Jewish you saw him in the world, were on his face. Then I asked for a Fabringen, and of course I came and we spent, I thought 10 minutes, then I thought 20 minutes, then I thought maybe a half hour. We spent like 2 or 3 hours. And he said, come back. And came back as often as possible, as I could. For a while, he saw that I disagreed with him on getting married. There are many letters which you don't have, personal letters, about getting married and what it means to get married. But he did not follow my protest. He understood it, but he didn't follow it. Yet he understood that my protest was an inner protest from inside the Muneh, not outside the Muneh. It wasn't even against the Muneh. It was because of the Muneh that I had a protest. As I think I said it to him. I said, I don't have chutzpah klape Shemaya, but I have trunia klape Shemaya. And he understood it. Of course he did. When I got married in Jerusalem, the most beautiful bouquet of flowers I received in my life, probably, was a Rebbe's, with a little note there, and then I got a letter. He belongs to a deep zone in my life. It's like Yaakov Avinu, like for Avinu, the most Yekna Shaloviv came to him at a critical moment. And with me, if I have, let's say, I'm at a crossroad and I need to make a decision, right or left, what do I do? I ask either literally I see the face of my mother or my father, and I know it comes to Ruchnius. I see the Rebbe's, do the Yeknish Rebbe. I must say that personally I miss him profoundly and terribly.
Thank you very much. One time I have not seen you. As I read about you in life, not enough. Amen. Noch mehr. Nicht dringendes Leid. Nicht der Lehne, nicht dringendes.
Every positive attribute that Hashem gifts us is for a reason, to assist us in our journey of life and to make the world a better place. The Rebbe constantly reminds us of this. You know, to laud physical beauty seems vain and possibly shallow, but the Rebbe teaches us that there is immense potential to use beauty to bring holiness and goodness to better humanity. Here is an exchange between the Rebbe and Miss Israel. She is the winner of Israel's 1991 beauty pageant.
אני מלכת היופי של ישראל, אני מייצגת את מדינת ישראל, אני מבקשת שתברך אותי באושר ובברכה. אני מבקשת שתברך את כל המשפחה שלי באושר, שנתחתן במהירות.
בצורות טובות והצלחה רבה.
תודה רבה.
בצורות טובות והצלחה רבה.
תודה רבה, באושר ובבריאות. תודה. תודה.
כוסף והתפרנח בתורו, ששקר הישי. אבל נחת כן בהמשך, איש ירס השם יתסהלו. ומפורשים, במפורשים, שעוז בין איש ירס השם, היא מנצלת את הישי שלו, ועליונים יופים בתיר ובמצוות.
תודה רבה.
הבנת מה שהרב אומר?
תמסור את זה גם לחברת שלו.
תודה.
להסגניות ולכל המשתתפים.
תודה רבה.
זה בשביל כל המשתתפות.
תודה רבה.
This perspective of the Rebbe to see the unique inner potential within any person or any situation was not only for situations that were planned or situations that we wanted to be in, But even the seemingly negative situations, the Rebbe was always able to find a way to have a powerful and positive impact that we never imagined we would be able to make. In 1968, Shirley Chisholm became the first African-American woman elected to the United States Congress. However, the 7 Democratic congressmen were unhappy about her success and tried to block her ability to be effective in bringing positive change to her community. It was the Rebbe who helped her find the unique hidden potential her unwanted position presented.
Dr. David Lukens is chair of the Political Science Department at Touro College. For 20 years, he served on the staff of U.S. Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan.
My 2 best stories with the Rebbe in public policy, and I use them in class. The first one I used in class in American politics as an example. There was a woman in Brooklyn, college teacher named Shirley Chisholm. She got elected to the United States Congress in the mid-60s. She was a fiery speaker. She was considered a black power advocate. Whites were scared silly of her. And she was the first black woman ever elected to the United States Congress, and she was a bomb thrower.
I am the only on-board and unbossed politician. And I mean that literally. And I think that you have to recognize that because I am not white, and because I'm not a male, that I am not going to get the blessings of the power structure in this country.
So the white Southern racists that ran the U.S. House of Representatives from the South said, we'll teach this blank a lesson. And they assigned her to the Agricultural Committee of the House of Representatives. It was a great gelächter, it was a great joke. I still remember the New York Times front page article said, does a tree grow in Brooklyn, question mark. And they said, the chairman, they've appointed Shirley Chisholm, not to housing, which she requested, not to a committee on poverty, but the Agriculture Committee. And when she retired from the House, I was there when she told the following story. She said she was very depressed, very upset, and didn't know what to do. She got a phone call. The Lubavitcher rabbi wants to see you. And of course, she was the congresswoman from Crown Heights. She had helped win the election, the primary, with the strong support of Lubavitch. She had some very close relationship with people in the Crown Heights community. And she came to see the Rebbe. And he sat down and he said, I know you're very upset. She says, I am upset. I'm insulted. What should I do? And he said, what a blessing God's given you. This country has so much surplus food, and there's so many hungry people, and you can use this gift that God's given you to feed hungry people. Find a creative way to do it. And she says the first day she came to Washington, she met a young congressman who's now a world-famous figure, Robert Dole from Kansas. And they started talking, and he said, we, our farmers have all this extra food, we don't know what to do with it. She said, 1 second, the rabbi. And what we call WIC and food stamps largely expanded. It was a tiny pilot program before the whole existing food stamps program came out of the Agriculture Committee of the United States Congress. And Shirley Chisholm said, in front of everyone there in Washington, she said, I owe this because a rabbi who was an optimist taught me optimism, taught me that what God gives, what you may think is a challenge, is a gift from God. She said, if poor children, babies, I heard her say this, she said, poor babies have milk, if poor children have food, it's because this rabbi in Crown Heights had vision.
How did the Rebbe manage to unearth the hidden potential of every human being? How did he empower us to see the greatness within ourselves? How can we emulate his example? The answer lies in the simple truth. The Rebbe genuinely cared and loved every human being. The Rebbe said, if God created us and brought us down into this world, then we are precious and treasured, and there's a role and a meaningful purpose that only you can achieve.
I grew up in the golden age of Lubavitch. So from a very young age, there were so many opportunities to see the Rebbe, to interface with the Rebbe. The Rebbe was there to lift us up, to give us perspective, solace when necessary, encouragement, to share the joys. A world with the Rebbe in it was a world that had an anchor.
I was a reporter at the New York Times from 1975 to 1993. And in those years, I had many opportunities to write about the growth of the Lubavitch movement and to write about Rabbi Schneerson in particular. I think most celebrities are people that you may admire, but you don't get a sense that they care that much about you. The Rebbe was different. He really cared about every person.
זה הבא שלו, זו פעם הראשונה, זה ההצלחה רבה, בשביל הסיור שלו בציורים שלו, הצלחה רבה. הצלחה רבה בכל הציורים החדשים. I have not seen you a long time, all since I arrived.
Could be a little bit better.
Then it will be a lot better.
Amen.
בנצל כל האפשריות, להפיץ היהדות האמיתית, ומתייחסים לך בטוב לבו.
כן, אני יודעת.
ירכיבו גם כן בישורות טובות בענייניך הפרטיים.
אוי, תודה. תודה.
והעבודה שלי היא גם כן הסתרבות בעניינים הפרטיים של כל הפנים אליי.
זה יותר חשוב לי ממה שאמרת עד עכשיו.
He wanted you to be a better person. He wanted you to be a better Jew. He wanted you to practice the rituals and the commandments of Judaism. Those things would make you a better person and make the world better.
I am a writer, primarily on Jewish themes, and I've recently completed a 5-year project on the Rebbe. The Rebbe had a greater capacity than anyone I've ever come across to appreciate that a human being is created in the divine image. He saw that spark of divinity in every Jew, that every Jew therefore was connected, even if that person felt distant now.
You're not changing anything, you're only returning to your real essence and doing so on your own volition, and then it will come to you automatically to progress in all things of Yiddishkeit.
The Rebbe was still seeing that divine spark within them. He saw not only who they were now, he saw also what they could become and how precious they were.
Ik heb gekomen te vinden een beetje Yiddishkeit, een beetje mijn Yiddishkeit.
Ik had
ik wil helpen.
Je zou zoeken bij zich in harten te geven, maar zag net dat je vindt nog daar. Dat verlissen en in de hart. We werden actief en dan viel met eigen ganzen. Jiddische hart. What happened to the book?
Well, I'm doing some things in that direction, which I'll inform you as it goes along.
It takes you too long here.
You're right.
You have much more things to do after you finish that.
Okay.
This was a wonderful year, Baruch Hashem, but this was our greatest accomplishment of 1988. To be elected a senator was nice, but this was the best.
But don't be satisfied. It's only with you.
Okay, we both heard.
Depends more on you, probably.
Hebt sich auch nach rumgucken, wird man erschrocken, was tut sich das in der Welt. Und was mit der und mit Schone, is achsher dore bit mir. Am geht sich a gucken, nieder chele Katevis Geber und nieder Seder wird als starker und nicht gedusche verruchni ist. Is meschel beschälet nor lechere leheper. A das is a Linie von a Jahr, was dort gewaltigen Chai Yisroel.
The Rebbe's mission was to call the world's bluff and reach right in and invert its reality and expose the core, expose the goodness. And he did that on every level, to the world entire, to each person he touched.
Man soll wissen sein, dass man gefühlt sich in einer teuren Welt. Das ist eine Welt, wo sie ist ein Gang. Und nicht stamm a Sode, eise Tvur, nur das ist ein Gang von eise Peres. Das ist eine Samen-Welt, wo der Rebester sagt, dass das ein Paradies, wo das ein Paradische lebt.
Now, it's one thing to see great and divine potential within ourselves and within others, but the Rebbe extended this perspective to the concept of time itself, seeing an almost infinite potential within each and every moment of life. Rabbi Adin Even Yisrael Steinsaltz, the legendary scholar and teacher, is considered one of the greatest Jewish scholars of our time, having translated the 36 volumes of the Talmud, authored over 25 scholarly works. How did he have the time for all this? Thanks to the Rebbe's guidance, watch this interview he gave.
I wrote to the Rebbe, I said, I'm just overwhelmed by work. Except for all kinds of small things. I'm involved in three major projects. And except for, I know dozens of smaller ones but the major projects that are more or less constant. And the point is, it is. I don't know if I wrote it, but I said it is overwhelming. And for that I got an answer. The answer was, so my main question was, what should I drop? I don't know that the three things that are important, each of them in a different level and a different way. But it seems that they're too much for one person. So, and I have to be involved in a way personally, what to drop. And the main point of the answer was, you go on, you continue to do all these things, and try to do more things. That was really the last thing that the last message that I had from the Rebbe. How much can you stuff into a box? See, how can see? There is okay. You squeeze it more, but there's an end to the squeezing. And what I said, that from physics we know that there is an end of squeezing only in a certain level. If you go on from pressure, not from usual pressure, but a pressure that is perhaps 1,000, 10,000 times as much, perhaps 100,000 times as much, the matter collapses and is rearranged. It is rearranged, and then you can put in. There's also a limit to that, but it is beyond the limits because you change the very nature of matter. So I think that what the Rebbe wanted to do with everybody, which he did with himself, was to create a new kind of matter.
Beschaß mich verbindet sich mit der Sache, wo sie gefühlt sich eben, mit der Sache, wo sie lemeile min azman und min amoke, ist afal pi, was gefühlt sich in Zman und in Moke, gibt ihm der Eberste die Möglichkeit, als ich ihn sehe, wird durchführen dem Ebersten Schlichus. Beschaß mich verbunden eben, oder dämmelt fällt mir nicht unten.
Today, the 3rd of Tammuz on the Jewish calendar, marks 26 years from the Rebbe physically left us. At that moment, the Rebbe entrusted us with the mission to carry the Rebbe's message forward. It was 2 years after that in 1996, my wife and I moved down here to the Manhattan Beach, South Bay area, to carry out the message and inspiration of the Rebbe. When I first met people down here, they thought I was lost, and they offered me directions back to the west side of Los Angeles. It was the year since, with the Rebbe's vision and blessings, we have built a community together. We've built a beautiful, vibrant synagogue, a preschool, elementary school, the Academy of the Arts, a Sunday school, Hebrew school, summer camps, and the Friendship Foundation, serving over 2,000 people with over 55 full-time employees. With the Rebbe's vision and love, we came here and together we built a shining light for our community. We still have a lot more to do. Today, we brought down a new rabbi and his dear wife to join us to continue with the teaching and inspiration to touch and inspire the lives of many people in our community. But we cannot do this alone. To accomplish this, to accomplish the Rebbe's mission of unlocking potential of every human being to being a shining light, we need each one of you. Please take the message of what you just saw and become a shining light and a lamplighter to inspire your family, your neighbors, and to bring this world to redemption, to bring this world to harmony and peace, to bring this world to a world of celebration. No more sorrow, no more hate, no more mourning, no more sickness. We know we can do it together. Each one of us have the potential. And we look forward to that day coming very soon, that we will dance together and sing together as one, with the coming of Moshiach, the coming of redemption speedily in our days.
The Rebbe rewrote the book on what it meant to be a Hasidic leader. The Rebbe sort of broke down that wall and said, I have something to give and to contribute and to teach to all Jews. He was one of a kind. So with him gone, how could the movement survive?
The Rebbe's passing was a loss on a personal level, but beyond that, it seemed to be the eclipse of a light the world needed so badly. That was the true loss. But as it turned out, that was never lost. It lives on in the Rebbe's teaching, in the Rebbe's direction, that fuel our work today.
When you are stranded in the wilderness, you really don't know anything. So you have a light, and the light guides you. And then somehow the light is extinguished in the middle of the night in some moment. How do you feel that? And you have, on the other hand, you don't have any permission to stop. See? And the Rebbe gave an order, marching orders. And so you have to go on marching.
For the Rebbe, there was nothing more precious than every single human being, and there was nothing more precious than every single mitzvah. The marching orders were, bring these two preciousnesses together.
Shasayit tut a mitzvah in der Welt, tut a schliches Abtebe de Nebischen Kwajoch. Wir darf mazmisch sagen, die Potter als a Promerid, ist jeder Mitzvah, was tut, ist seine Matone, was gibt dem Nebischen.
One of the ways in which this book itself profoundly influenced me was the Rebbe's insistence on the importance of every mitzvah, which brings me now, when I do a mitzvah, to have a much greater increased sense of its power to affect me.
Everyone is putting tefillin, you eat and you are true to you. Someone else, he must begin putting tefillin. That alone is a very worthwhile endeavor. For adding a Jew to put tefillin. You're welcome.
The Rebbe saw each person as a stakeholder in this awesome project. We have the responsibility and the privilege of moving it forward. By adding one new mitzvah, everyone can become a stakeholder in the Rebbe's project as it continues to move forward and to grow.
Und als meisef ein Meise, ein Dibur, ein Achlot, lezad Atev, ist Neise, was peilt auf sich, peilt rechet al Bnei Beise, und peilt, wie der Rambam schreibt, als Psag Din, al Kol Ha'elam Kuli Machrie, lekar Schus, bringt uns die Gejule bepeil Mamash, die Tech Simcha, betur Levo.
The Rebbe rarely wrote about himself, but in one fascinating letter, the Rebbe wrote how, from when he was a child, he envisioned a moment when the world reaches its potential, when all that hidden potential that we all have is finally revealed, a moment when the world comes to perfection, the moment that our prophets and sages have spoken about throughout history, the coming of Moshiach. In every single talk, in every letter, the Rebbe always spoke and wrote about his awaiting the coming of Mashiach, about his yearning for the coming of Mashiach, about our role in working towards reaching that perfection. We're going to conclude the evening tonight with a clip of the Rebbe speaking about our preparation for the coming of Mashiach and him encouraging children to sing the song, "We Want Mashiach Now."
Is demoltig geworden noch mehr der Hechlich am Musen drauf tun. Nur wenn der Misert habe ich Chance drauf wegen drauf besser soll nicht da. Muss man mit Farsen sein, Reis, als jeder soll wissen, als durch sein 91 Meister und sein 91 Dieb und sein 91 Machschove soll wissen sein, als Rettig wegen Jikwisse dem Schiche. Und in der Ruf Gufi Jikwisse dem Schiche. Und nun der Ruf Gufi dort der Psagdin von Nevi Tshuva Zolle Beilom.
Want to tell the Rebbe the words of the new song that we're singing with Mashiach, right? So I'm just going to read him. Am Yisrael, have no fear. Mashiach will be here this year. We want Mashiach now. We don't want to wait. Okay? Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now, oh yeah, Am Yisrael, have no fear, Mashiach will be this year. Am Yisrael, have no fear, Mashiach will be here this year. We want Mashiach now, we want Mashiach now, we don't want to wait. We want Mashiach now, we don't want to